Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the UVA LCS Fall Finals for the year of 2015. My name is Seamus Seamus Anderson, and I will be bringing you the action live at UVA's open grounds here on the historic corner. We are going to have the season's greeters up against Ed Sheeran's Fanclub 2.0. Now, for those of you who haven't watched the UVA LCS in a while, it is, of course, the season's greeters on the blue side and Ed Sheeran's Fanclub on the red side. Season's greeters made it here through the semifinals after a 2-1 game against Bare Naked Laners, whereas Team Single Asians was defeated by Ed Sheeran's Fanclub, and that is how the Fanclub got their way here. And they didn't lose a single game in the semifinals. They won 2-0. So some would say that the favorite in this series will be Ed Sheeran's Fanclub 2.0, but we're just going to have to find out and watch. Of course, this is a best of 5, so we might be going all the way to a 5th and final game tonight. I hope we do. For now, though, bands coming out pretty quickly. Braum, Dr. Mundo, Udyr band out, and Thresh, Graves, Quinn. Those are the bands for the Fanclub. And the first pick, Nautilus, which is actually pretty interesting, because I know back in the day, Botox used to be a support Nautilus player, but I'm not sure that's what he's going to be running this time, since he does play as the jungler now. Interesting to note that the blue team did ban out Dr. Mundo, which is a common pick of Sexy, the top laner for this Ed Sheeran's lineup. And it seems as if Sexy actually recently got his name changed to The Legend, which is actually a shout-outs to an older UVA LCS player back when the UVA LCS wasn't even called the LCS. So, paying a little bit of a homage there to previous players that we've had is pretty sweet to watch. Now, unfortunately, because we're at a different venue, I'm not always going to be able to keep up with the chat, but I will try and make as much noise and check up with you guys whenever I can. But holy crap, look at that. Tons of Wombo, not only damage, but also the crowd control with Lyrel 6 locking the Malphite and Archon 5 with the Leona. That is really, really hardcore to engage immediately out of the gate, and it looks like the response from the season's greeters is going to add a little bit of mobility into the mix. Ezreal and Elise are going to be the pickups for the season's greeters, and I like the Ezreal here because the Ezreal is able to arcane shift out of most of these engages if he has the reaction and the reflexes. Elise, of course, one of the strongest junglers in the game at the moment. Season 6 has been really, really kind to her with the runic echoes, making her even stronger. It's actually boosted her win rate even more than the previous Runeglaive, and the Runeglaive was pretty strong at least anyway. So the Legend is going to be locking in Callista, and Sariel has a couple of moments, is going to be locking in the Kindred. So not only do they have a ton of crowd control, but it's also going to be the double ADC composition, with Sariel probably going to be running this Kindred in the jungle. Unless I might go for something tricky here, because I know, of course, the Legend used to be, back when he was called Sexy, he used to play as AD carry, so they might even go for some role swaps. Oh, but there we see Tom FYA Coles is going to be locking it in Lissandra as well for Kaiser. So Tom Coles locking in this Garen. That's something that actually I was talking, I heard both of the teams were discussing. They kind of, I don't want to say it was a predicted Garen pick, but I do know that the Fanclub definitely thought this might come out. I just heard that I should turn down the client volume. So here, this is, let me know how the client volume is in comparison to my voice. Like I said, this unfortunately isn't my usual stream setup because the internet at the venue is spotty. So I'll try and make do with what I have. Mid or Disco Nunu locking in that Vel'Koz as the last pick up against the Lissandra is going to have a pretty good lane, but considering that's a mobility-less mid laner, curious how it's going to go for the rest of the game. So, of course, we do have the 3-minute spectator delay. And as we do wind down, you know, we've seen the compositions now. Malphite in the top lane, jungle Kindred, mid Vel'Koz, Callista, and Leona will be the bot lane for the Ed Sheeran's Fanclub version 2.0. In the top lane, it's Garen. In the jungle, it's Elise. In the mid lane, it's Lissandra. In the bot lane, it's Ezreal. And in the bot lane as the support, it's going to be Barcode Guardian on Nautilus. Those are the two teams, and it's pretty beefy. Both team compositions definitely have a lot of bulk with champions like Elise, Nautilus, Leona, Malphite. Certainly being a very effective front line, but I think I'm a little bit more afraid of the Ed Sheeran comp just because they not only have amazing engage through the Leona ultimate and the Malphite, but they also have that Fate's Call to throw in the Leona, so the range they're going to be able to engage on is absolutely crazy. On the other hand, you know, it's not as if there isn't a decent amount of crowd control for the season's greeters. However, they have a little bit of outplay potential in the fact that they can get themselves out of tricky situations. Lysandra can ult herself or try to use her claw to get away. Ezreal can obviously arcane shift out of there. Elise can use her repel. So a lot of abilities to dodge some of that CC from the Ed Sheeran Fanclub composition. And if they pull it off successfully, they will be able to win the game. So we'll just have to wind down the clock and see. I do want to take this time to give a huge shout out to our sponsors. Obviously, the UVA LCS was really fortunate to have a lot of support from pretty awesome companies such as Mad Cats, TT Esports. We've also have Razer Peripheral, Alienware, Dell, obviously. So, I mean, this tournament really has been brought to new levels in terms of what the prize pool is, and it's all thanks to these sponsors. So, really appreciate it. A slight misstep on our part is that I had this cool overlay setup planned, and unfortunately that isn't going to be appearing on the finals simply because of technical difficulties. But I mean, if anyone watches this, you know, absolutely please give shout out to our sponsors, use their products, maybe send an email out to Mike over at UVA Bookstores, Cav Computers, who's really helped us get all this funding for now. And we have just about 40 seconds left. Before we get into this game, so let me know what you guys think. You know, like I said, I'm not going to be able to look at the stream the entire time, but I'm definitely going to be interested in hearing whether you guys think the Ed Sheeran's Fanclub will win, whether the season's greeters will win, and why. You know, is it just based off of team composition? Is it based off of the expert play of a single player? Do you think the team work of one team is better in conjunction to the other? Because this is actually the first time we have seen these two teams play. They were in different groups in the regular season, and they made their way here pretty convincingly. You know, they had the regular split, the regular season, they had the same records, and they were number one in their seed, or number one seed in their group. And then Season's Greeters did lose a game in the semifinals. However, they were able to beat the Bare Naked Laners, who were a pretty feared team and had a very successful run in the past few seasons, being the spring split winners. So the Season's Greeters knocking Bare Naked Laners out might give them a bit of a confidence boost, I guess, because that is a very strong team. Just want to make sure. Alright, so we will be good for this. I'm only working on a single monitor setup, so I don't have the ability to change things on the fly or look around and make sure everything's okay. So again, this is back to the olden days of streaming where there's pretty much the game, the microphone, and the caster. No sweet overlays or high production value to try and give myself a bit of a boost. So checking at the skins, checking them out. A little bit of skin war going on. Oh, no, just kidding. We're actually going to be loading into the Rift very quickly. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Game 1 of the UVA Fall 2015 Fall Split. The finals between Ed Sheeran's Fanclub 2.0 in the red side, and then on the blue side, it's the Season's Greeters. Fix this all around and make sure you guys are set. We do see pings coming out. It is, of course, the first game of the series, so we might see something crazy. Certainly running cheese strategies in the first game you play against someone can be very effective in throwing enemies off. And you know what? If the cheese does not work, that's okay, because you still have many games to play.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
We are looking at the chat real quick. The game actually doesn't matter whether or not it's tournament draft, so I hope these guys know, yeah. Generally, tournament draft and just a regular game are two different types of game modes that you play with under riots, build a game, custom game, create or whatever, but in this situation it doesn't matter.
Minions have spawned.
Unless we need a pause. I hope we don't need a pause. We'll see. The players are here in the venue, so I can actually just open my door. It looks like they will be continuing to play, so I think we'll be okay on that front. Archon B actually, Viral 6 did a bit of a mistake there by bonding with Archon really late. Sariel's not going to get the best leash, but the thing is, the Kindred sustain with her W is fairly potent, so it's not as if she's going to be super far behind. Ooh, Kaiser missing a minion there. But we'll see. A little bit of trading in the bot lane. Again, this kind of sucks because you guys are just going to totally see my monitor. I just want to make sure that I have everything going before. Alright. Alright. If anyone watching the stream needs to give me any information and is here at the venue, you know where to find me. Otherwise, someone message me on Facebook and I will be able to check that on my phone. But then without further ado, I will now uninterrupted pay attention to this match. Oops, let me miss that better. There we go. So here we go. We've seen actually pretty even lanes. Standard, nothing really too exciting so far. Junglers started red and blue side respectively. And we might actually see a quick gank here from Botox. Now, Botox is a player who didn't start out as this great member of the season's greeters, but I think currently in the new season he's their highest rated player. Let's see if Cocoon's going to land. The knockup is huge. Botox taking a ton of damage, forced to repel out of there. Going to go on to mid or Disco Nuno though, but he has taken tons of damage from this Vel'Koz. Not really sure what he was thinking there, but he will get out without using his flash. However, that is valuable time that Sariel is going to be able to spend in Botox's jungle, and Botox has not secured his blue buff, so we might see Sariel go for a steal. If he was really, really sneaky, he could smite the wolves, take the large wolf, and then maybe go for the blue buff. That way the wolf would give him vision of the enemy at least. Although maybe he's thinking that it'd be a little bit too risky, all things considered. Taking wolves and blue at early levels is not that fast, so seems like he'd rather just take the blue buff, and yeah, we will see it taken away. So Botox now a little bit behind with that unsuccessful gank. Yeah, he sees blue buffs the way, and he's gonna go for his Gromp. Did Kindred not do her... Interesting. Kindred did not go for the Scuttle Crab, so obviously, cool thing about Kindred is that she has the ability to do bonus max HP, or excuse me, she does bonus current HP, percentage of current HP as bonus damage on her auto attacks for each stack she gets. It's 1.25%. Every time she kills a marked minion, like you see over there in that little corner of the map, she will gain one of those stacks, or if she kills a marked champion. Now, the reason why I think Sariel did not go for that crab there is because he probably realized Elise was coming to that side of the map quickly and felt it was too big of a risk. That being said, you know, I don't know if that actually would have been the case, but not going to make too much difference here. The Legend's taking a lot of damage from Tom FYA Close. Holy crap, that Garen. I remember the Legend discussing that he wasn't going to fall behind in CS. At least he felt confident that that wasn't going to happen. Or Sexy, I should say. The player Sexy is playing on the account of the Legend. However, you know, I didn't hear him talk at all about if he would die solo lane. And Tom Coles has certainly done a lot of damage. So the Legend forced to recall and then teleport back. Archon and Lyral 6 building up a pretty big wave here. While the Skrull recalled early to pick up his Tear of the Goddess, which is going to be able to stack towards that blue build. Kaiser taking a lot of damage. The proc for the passive, but here comes Elise. Mido Disco Nuno is going to get flashed on, forced to pop his berry. He has his summoners available. He's going to use the flash too. The Cocoon will land. Mido Disco Nuno in big trouble. Now, will this be first blood? Yes, it will. Elise will pick up the kill, and that is first blood over to the season's greeters. We saw the first gank unsuccessful for Botox on that Elise, but the second gank perfect. He waited for the flash to come out from Mido Disco Nuno and then still managed to land the Cocoon, meaning they could close the gap in time to pick up the kill. Sariel will be there, but he's only going to be able to pick up extra farm in the mid lane and was not able to help his mid laner. So Mido Disco Nuno going for this Vel'Koz. It's certainly a pick with a lot of damage, but the issue is without mobility, you are super susceptible to ganks. And that is exactly what we saw from the season's greeters. kind of curious as to why there's no music volume. I'm not the only one who doesn't hear that, right? Interesting. Oh well. FII Coles going for a little bit of spinning there. The Legend has fallen fairly low on mana. Trading back and forth. The nice thing about Garen is that you're just so tanky. Oh, Botox is looking for a lane gank, but the thing is, whoa, that cocoon was close to hitting anyway. Good lane ward there from the bot lane of Ed Sheeran's Fanclub version 2.0, just to make sure that they wouldn't get ganked anymore. And even though Elise was able to pick up first blood, we see Sariel on this Kindred has spent more time ganking. He's looking, or excuse me, farming. He's looking for a gank in this mid lane, unable to do so, does clear out the ward, however, with the Raptor buff, and will probably go to farm some more. So as far as the gold is concerned, the gold in the junglers, it's still a bit in favor of Elise. However, it's pretty close. Lyra getting caught by Hook. It's going to be rooted by Nautilus passive as well. That's a lot of damage onto the 80 carry from Ed Sheeran's Fanclub. He's going to be able to hop away, but not after getting chunked down to about half HP, forced to chug those potions, but he is out. So if he gets hooked by another hook from the Nautilus, especially if he gets level 6, he may be in huge trouble. Ooh, Lyrel, you are playing a dangerous game, my friend. So 8 minutes into the game so far, 1 kill is the score. Only a little bit of a gold lead for the season's greeters, but really nothing too significant at this point in the game. You know, so far the game has really mirrored professional play, where the current meta game is fairly passive to a certain extent. You will occasionally see lane swaps, resulting in 4 versus 0 turret pushes. However, the thing is, at a game of this level, players don't really want to take any big mistakes or risks. That Zenith Blade was actually pretty close to landing onto Wild Squirrel. But just a pixel off. Yeah, so with players being so passive, it, you know, certainly isn't the most entertaining to watch, but you can't really blame them for how much is on the line. They've got, you know, mechanical keyboards, mice, headsets, really, really nice headsets, a lot to compete for, and making the first big blunder that might lose your team the game is definitely something neither side wants to do, which is why we've seen such measured play so far. If I'm not mistaken, actually, I can hear the music. The music's a little bit quiet, but I think I can hear it. That's interesting. Ooh, the Legend, he's taken pretty low, though. Teleport coming to the bottom, and that's from the Lissandra. Flash is going to go, and Lyra's going to get hooked. He's going to get ulted. He's going to go down for sure. The Wildest Squirrel pick up the kill. Now Archon's the one in trouble, getting dove under tower. That's a double kill to the 80 carry of the season's greeters, and the heal will keep Barcode Guardian alive. That is now 3 kills over 1,000 gold lead, and with the bot lane of the Fanclub dead, the greeters will certainly take this dragon in a very, very firm control of this early game. And there we go. That is the first dragon slain. That is a 6% buff to both the damage and I should say physical and magic damage ability power for the season's greeters, working their way towards that 5th and final dragon buff, where their team basically gets super powered. For now, though, Ed Sheeran's Fanclub version 2.0 on the back foot. They need to find a way back into this game. And really, what we've seen so far is just better team play from the greeters. They've had the better ganks, they've had the teleports coming in, and that's one of the risks you run when the enemy mid laner has teleport and you do not. Mid or Disco Nunu was not able to teleport to that Lissandra TP, and that means Kaiser picks up a pretty simple kill. Some more top lane action. The Legend taken pretty low. He does have Mid or Disco Nunu coming around, but the thing is, Mid or Disco Nunu walks over a pink ward, so no successful gank there. However, speaking of ganks, Elise is here, and they know that there's no vision in this. It's quite a distance, but if Botox is able to land this cocoon here, this could be devastating as another gank in this ball lane will be a huge problem. We see the ping is coming out. Yep. Ed Sheeran's fan club bot lane certainly know that something is amiss, as the mid laner was Mia, and they didn't really know where Elise was either. So they are going to back off for now. The Legend, he's asking for another gank. Tom Coles this time is going to get unstoppable force. That's a lot of damage. Can Tom Coles get away? He is going to get slow. The knockup is not going to land. Nice flash from Tom. The flash to fall from the Legend. Can he get the kill? Yes, he does. A slap from the Malphite will put this team on the board. Ed Sheeran's fan club finally able to get one kill in their favor. Sariel narrowly dodged away from that cocoon. The Zenith Blade's going to land on the Barcode Guardian, but Archon gets rooted in place. He's going to have his Eclipse to try and protect him, but how long will it last? Not for very long. The ultimate from Callista used, but he goes back in. Archon V should not have taken that Fate's Call. He gets taken very, very low and ulted by the Nautilus. Can they get the kill here? The flash from Water Scroll, it's going to be enough. A Zenith Blade untimely will kill Archon, and now the Callista running away. Botox is going to repel it. I'm not sure if it's going to do much, but Tom FYA Cole's looking for the kill onto Legend, who's out of mana, out of flash, and out of time. That is going to be the kill to Tom, and that kill in the bot lane means that the turret will fall in favor of the season's greeters, and they are 5-1 and looking incredibly strong so far in this game. So now the season's greeters, they have a very, very solid lead at this point in the game. The thing is, though, their composition, the way it scales, it's not an incredibly strong early game composition. So we see the Mana Mune has been completed for Ezreal, but he's still stacking that, so he has 400 stacks to go. Catalyst picked up, as well as the Rod for, or to say Blasting Wand for Kaiser, but the thing is, he hasn't completed his Rod of Aegis yet. So yes, there's a goal lead to the season's greeters, but the nature of their composition is that they certainly don't want to be behind at this point in the game. For now, though, the season's greeters have grouped up into the mid lane, and Sariel is pretty squishy, so I'm not sure if he's going to be enough to protect this. This is going to be the second outer turret falling. Season's greeters pushing their goal advantage, and that's what you have to do with the composition they are running. You have to make sure you snowball your lead and keep it up, because once you get to the late game, you aren't actually fielding that much damage. Lissandra, Elise, Ezreal, these are all champions very strong in the current metagame, but the thing is they're not strong because they're hyper carries, as they do tend to do less damage in the very, very late game. Nice little dodge there from mid-or Disco Nunu. Ooh, Lyrel is going to get caught out here. He's going to get ulted by Kaiser. That's a ton of damage. Can he get out of this? I don't think so. And neither do the season's greeters. Barcode Guardian will be picking that kill up, while the Legend is going to get cocooned. That was a great cocoon from Botox. Cole is going for the dive, but Botox is going to be engaged on by the Legend, and the turnaround from the onto the greeters. Oh, what a great play by this top lane jungle duo from the Ed Sheeran fan club, as we see the master emote. A little bit of BM there from Sariel. But the season's greeters did not want to go for that dive. The fan club certainly made them pay for it. And let's see if Sariel and the Legend are able to pick up this turret. They have a siege minion and another wave coming, so they might actually be able to get this. However, the rotation from the season's greeters is coming around. Both Nautilus and Lissandra on the way. We see the pings, but it looks like this might just be the mid lane taken down for the Ed Sheeran's fan club. True Shot Barrage is not really going to hit anything of value, and the question is, with those two kills, can Ed Sheeran's fan club version 2.0 find anything else, any extra objectives to put the goal back into their favor? He's going to be clearing out a pink board. We do see fairly good vision from both sides, as the red side jungle of the red team has been fairly warded in a couple of wards around this Rift Herald. Second dragon has respawned, and it doesn't seem as if Ed Sheeran's fan club has any major positioning on it, so this might just be a free dragon taken by the season's greeters. Legend is working on this turret. He's only got 2 minions left. He's fairly tanky, so he might be able to take some shots. And here we go. That is it. Sexy, aka the Legend, will secure the first turret of the game in favor of the Ed Sheeran fan club. So that puts a little bit of global gold back into their pocket, and they might be going for some more. But the question is, what are the season's greeters up to? They have so much vision around this jungle. Botox, he's gonna get engaged on, but the rest of his team is there. Botox is gonna repel out of the way, and Sariel might be the target right now. Unstoppable Force has been used, so there's really not that much crowd control with the members that are here. The Legend is taken very, very low. Flashes away, but still goes down, and Flash from top Coles, but the ult from Sariel will keep him up. The question is for how long. This dive is very, very rough, and the shutdown will go on to Tom FYA Coles, as 2 members of the Ed Sheeran's fan club have fallen, and there is not enough pressure here. Season's greeters are going to pick up another outer turret. That is the red team's turret going down. Both Vel'Koz and Leona are still staying here. Can they protect this turret? There really isn't that much of a wave just yet. There we go. That wave cleared pretty easily, so it looks like the greeters may have to back off. And the nice thing is for the greeters, the Kindred on the enemy team was the only champion that was really getting too far ahead, as all the lanes were pretty even in farm except for the jungle. Being able to get that 2-kill shutdown, secure the Rift Herald, and get the turret as well means that the season's greeters maintain their goal lead, and they push it forward just a little bit more. The rotation, however, coming in from Ed Sheeran's fan club version 2.0. They've given up a couple of kills. They lost the turret, but they're going to try and get positioned on this dragon, and they do so. Immediately starting it, and Botox is in his base, so this might be a dragon taken by the fan club uncontested, but here comes Barcode Guardian. Is he going to do anything? No, it does not look like he will. So that is a nice answer from the fan club, but the question is it going to be enough? Archon, Lyril, and Midor Disco Nunu have grouped up into this middle lane. And the nice thing is, even though they are far behind, Vel'Koz is a champion that is so very effective at clearing waves. So I'm curious to see how exactly this siege will happen for the greeters. Can they push these turrets if they're in a straight up 5v5 scenario? I'm not entirely sure. Ezreal and Elise are certainly good champions to poke with if you either land Mystic Shot or Cocoon. That's a bit of crowd control and some damage that's going to be followed up on for sure. But the thing is, they don't have that much long-range turret-taking power. Lune's Echo has been completed, though. Or I should say Runic Echo, so we'll see. That's one W used by Vel'Koz. He's going to have another charge. It looks like there's really no positioning. Both Malphite and Kindred really aren't here, so this might just be an unanswered tower, and that is the 4th turret of the game falling in favor of the season's greeters. They are up now almost 5,000 goals after 20 minutes. Certainly a very, very strong lead for this team, as they're only going to get stronger throughout the mid-game. We see Ed Sheeran's fan club version 2.0. They are all grouped together, but the question is, what exactly are they going to be looking for? Tom FYA Coles has gone into the top lane. He does have his teleport available, so he can meet up with his team. Oop. Sariel. Hold on. The Legend, he has Unstoppable Force up, but he doesn't want to go in one member. Nice dodge for the Cocoon there. We might see a fight. Botox getting a lot of damage. Here comes Midor Disco Nunu, though. A repel away, but is it going to be enough to keep him alive? The Legend's going to go onto Wild Squirrel, but he doesn't have the damage to take him down solo. And the ultimate onto Lyra. Kaiser does a ton of damage and flashes away. This could be everything that the season's greeters have looked for, but Wild Squirrel taking so much damage, he's forced to back away, and they are still 4v5 as Tom Coles is working on this top lane turret. They were in a 4v5 situation, but were still able to pick up 1 kill, and with that being said and done, they are going to very happily walk away as Tom Coles keeps hammering on this turret. It's taken down to about a third of its HP so far. That was simply a bit of positional mistakes by the members of Ed Sheeran's fan club. They have the numbers advantage, but the Legend only ulted onto really a target that he wasn't able to kill, and without any follow-up, that is going to be another small victory for the season's greeters. Here we go. Kaiser has just completed his Abyssal Scepter. He's going to have a ton of damage at this point. His Rod of Age is getting up to fairly high levels of being stacked as well. I think it says 5 at the moment. So it's got a bit more to go. And Muramana hasn't been completed by Ezreal just yet. But they are very close to hitting their strongest power spike. And we'll see what exactly the Ed Sheeran fan club can do to respond. They do have incredibly strong wombo combo potential if they get the Leona on top of the Malphite, on top of the Vel'Koz AoE, but the question is, can they actually do so successfully? Kindred has not completed her Hurricanes yet, so her single target damage is going to be okay, but her AoE damage is not really going to be at a point you'd rather have your Kindred at this point, or Kalista I should say, not Kindred, but Kindred has completed Hurricane. So she's doing a little bit of area of effect damage. Kalista, not so much. Essentially, the two champions are fulfilling similar roles at this point in time, though, so we'll see how the team fights are played out. The Legend trying to clear the waves as fast as he possibly can, but Tom Coles is very strong at this point. 176 minutes to 133 as Zariel is going to jump forward. Archon B may be looking for the engage as the members of Season Greeters have dispersed. And it looks like for now they're going to be trying a 1-1-3 split push combo. Both of their solo laners do have teleport, so they can make it back to a team fight if they ever needed to. For now, though, I don't actually think that's really going to be something they have to. Muramana just completed 7 stacks on the Roa as Kaiser is looking to work on his blue buff. We are going to have a little bit of a lull in the action. We'll see who it benefits more. So as we're hitting the 24-minute mark, 3,000, almost pretty much 40,000 gold to 34,400. That's still a pretty big hurdle for Ed Sheeran's fan club to climb if they want to come back into this game, especially because these are the moments in which not only is the gold just at such an advantage for the season's greeters, but it's also, this is the right time for them to have a gold lead. Yes, the enemy team has a lot of wombo. Yes, the enemy team has a lot of engage. But the thing is, their mobility is going to be so strong and their pick potential as well. Zariel, he's been farming so much trying to get to that Devourer. He's still not completed. He's very close, though. 2 more to go. However, this is probably going to be the dragon in favor of the season's greeters. They knew they gave up the last one, so they do not want to repeat that mistake. That is an easy peasy second dragon of the game picked up for the season's greeters. They're going to have that 15% bonus damage onto structures, which isn't a great combat buff, obviously, but does make split pushing and poking and sieging quite simple. Now, Tom Coles is going to get slowed down by the Iceborne Gauntlet from the Legend, but not too much of a follow-up there. His team wasn't able to get there in time, and honestly, there's no... It's going to be very hard to kill a Garen with Boots of Swiftness. His ability to withstand crowd control and slows is just super frustrating to deal with. So both inner turrets and the side lanes for the Ed Sheeran fan club are still up. Haven't gone down just yet. Oh, wow, this squirrel taking a lot of damage there from the Vel'Koz. Certainly has to be careful. He is very mobile, but you can't dodge any damage when you're dead. Speaking of which, another great Q. Not sure if Wild Squirrel is going to stay here. He has the Bilgewater Cutlass, which means his sustain isn't really that bad. they don't really have a minion wave. Turret taken down to 2/3 HP. Let's take a look. Plasma Fission, so the Q from Vel'Koz does over 300 damage with that 70% slow. And then the Vel'Koz W does like 300, 150 plus 227, so no, that's quite a bit of damage. 400 damage from the W as well. You can almost expect that maybe Rod of Squirrel would play a little bit more passively when trying to siege up, but so far it's worked fairly effectively for Seasons Greeters. However, they haven't really been able to push any farther. These inner turrets they've been up to the inner turrets for quite a while, but they still haven't been able to take them down, which is pretty good. But can they take them down now? The Legend is going to be engaged on. He flashes away. He has Unstoppable Force, but he cannot use it in time. And with that, Tom FYA Coles, he's on a killing spree. He has the dankest of KDAs, and that is another turret taken for the Seasons Greeters. Sariel has completed his Devour. It's completely sated, and he also has a Frozen Mallet. You know, that's a very interesting Kindred build, but I kind of like it. It certainly provides not only a ton of damage based off of how Kindred's kit works, but also a huge amount of utility, which is pretty effective in making sure that the enemy team can kite away. However, I don't know how effective kiting or negating kiting is going to be when you're up against a Garen with Boots of Swiftness. That's as well as champions like Ezreal. Seasons Greeters are grouping up into this bottom lane. They're looking to push it out and looking to take the last remaining non-inhibitor turret. I'm not really sure. I do not think the Fanclub can really protect at this point. Ooh, Botox. They're looking for the Legends. The Legend does not have Flash, remember. He's taken a ton of damage, and he goes down. It looks like Botox might be the Legend here, as he is now 2, 1, and 3, and looking for more. Sariel forced to hop away, but he's 3 levels down. He might be able to duel this Elise, although the True Shot Barrage is massive, and Elise forced to repel away, but the chase is on as Sariel will get the kill onto Botox's Elise, and that is a nice answer from the very, very fed Kindred for Ed Sheeran's Fanclub. But the question is this Kindred going to be enough? And I'm not sure what the answer is at this point in time, as the gold lead has now gone to 8,000 gold in favor of the Seasons Greeters. We take a look at the gold individually. There's a 3,000 gold difference in the top lane. There's a 1,500 gold difference in the jungle, and that's the only advantage that we've seen Ed Sheeran's Fanclub find so far. Mid lane has farmed pretty well. 241 minions means that he's only about 1,000 gold behind, but considering Kaiser's been involved in 8 assists so far and has farmed fairly nicely in his own right, it's certainly Mido Disco Nunu won't be as effective as he could be if his team had a couple of more kills. It's really all going to be up to how well Kindred positions in these team fights. So far, the ability to kite the single target crowd control from the Seasons Greeters composition has definitely gotten them up to a very, very comfortable lead. But the question is, of course, as always, can they close the game from here? Because honestly, once you get to a certain point in games of League of Legends, a gold lead at 5,000 or a 5,000 gold lead at 5 minutes is pretty different from a 5,000 gold lead at 50 minutes, as far as proportions is concerned. So, if the Seasons Greeters aren't able to use this advantage in the next 10 to 15 minutes and close out the game, the gold will almost not really matter that much. That being said, though, 10 to 15 minutes is still quite a lot of game to be played, so we'll just have to wait and see. Cole's gonna get the silence and then gonna spin it to win it. Not really gonna be doing much damage to this Malphite, but it will clear out the waves pretty quickly. Kaiser, Barcode Guardian, and Wildest Squirrel are all grouped up in this middle lane, and they are waiting for their minions. But again, they are up against a huge amount of poke and a huge amount of wave clear. The ultimate coming out and the cocoon landing onto Archon 5. Ooh, here comes Sariel. Dragon has spawned, and the Rift Skull is going to go down pretty quickly in favor of Season's Greeters, but we might see a fight here. Sariel is going to get caught out. He's going to hop over the wall easy peasy and makes it out alive. That cannot happen. If Sariel gets caught out, then surely the Season's Greeters will win these fights. So good hop away from the jungler for the fan club, but the question is, can they get the engage they want? A couple of members are grouped, but there's simply no way to get position on this dragon, and that's now the dragon's flight buff in the hands of the Season's Greeters team. They're going for the legend, but that's the tank. He flashes away immediately, and Barcode Guardian gets answered with a lot of poke damage as well onto Wildest Squirrel. And the legend used his flash to get away from that, but he still has his unstoppable force available, so that's going to be a very important cooldown if we see a team fight in the next few moments. It's also important to note that Sariel has completed QSS, and he's had it up for a little bit, so that's definitely a very valuable item if the Lysandra Frozen Tomb goes onto the Kindred. That'll actually maybe be a bit of a mistake as far as engage is concerned, simply because Kindred can just pop it off. We'll see what happens, though. Death timers are fairly long at this point in the game, remember, in this 6th season of League of Legends. So certainly, if someone goes down, that's going to be a very long amount of time that either side really has to work with. Considering how strong Kindred is, you might even risk a Baron if the members of Ed Sheeran's fan club are able to pick up a straight kill. How many stacks does Kindred have? I want to say 10. No, wait, that's Hunter's Vigor. Mark of the Kindred. Wait a second. It's not say. Oh, wow. Only 3 stacks on Kindred so far, so actually wasn't really able to get any counter jungling done, and also didn't get that many stacks through the kills he obtained, so... Oh, can he catch Wildest Squirrel? He does a lot of damage, and Wildest Squirrel forced to hop away, but a very good cocoon there, followed by the Spiderling from Elise, means that Fan Club has to be careful with their next engage. Sariel, he's got a little bit of health, he's got a little bit of lifesteal with that Cutlass, but he's not really a tank by any means. Botox taking a ton of damage here. He's gonna go down. Yes, he does. The Lyra on the engage, the 3-man engage from Kaiser, and he ults himself for good measure. The knockup of the flash away, but Kaiser is still taking focus from a lot of members of Ed Sheeran Fan Club. Wildest Squirrel's in huge trouble. Caught up by Sariel and does get shut down. Nice ultimate will keep him alive, but the question is for how long. Sariel gets a kill into Barcode Guardian, and the Fan Club are turning this around. The double kill to Tom FYA Coles, but I don't know if it's going to be enough of the Season's Greeter trying to make something out of this fight. But that is going to be a 4-for-2 after an excellent team fight from Ed Sheeran's Fan Club version 2.0. They found exactly what they were looking for, and they are still behind in gold, but they know that if they play this right, they can take down the Season's Greeters. That was the first death of the game for Wildest Squirrel. We saw Kaiser was going in after his jungler had died. That face check really from Botox was what started it all, and it ended up being really, really good news for Ed Sheeran's Fan Club. Especially because Sariel was able to sustain himself and stay alive in those fights, and that's a little bit worrisome for the Season's Greeters composition. You know, they need to find picks. They cannot be the ones that get engaged on, because if they get engaged on, and get caught out and do not outplay the enemy, they just go down so quickly. Here we go. Season's Greeters all grouped up this time. They do not want to get caught out like they did before. thing is, though, there's still really no way that they can actually siege. Do they have to find a pick here to win this game, or do they maybe go for a Baron call instead? Oh, Kaiser getting caught out in the exact same brush that his jungler did. The Unstoppable Force is going to go completely wide, but that might still be a good fight as Midor Disco Nunu picks up the kill into Kaiser. Now Tom FYI Cole is trying to go back in, trying to find something, and Archon coming around. But this is now a 4v5 as Botox gets stun locked forever, and Barcode Guardian is taking huge amounts of damage. Wilder Squirrel is doing his best on the backside to try and pick up some kills, but Tom FYI Coles has been a great distraction so far for the season's greeters, as Archon is slain by Wilder Squirrel, and Tom Coles is still going around. Wilder Squirrel misses that Mystic Shot, and as a result might not be able to pick up the kill, and might go down. No, it looks like the Cocoon onto the Legend will keep the 80 carry of the greeters alive. But another misstep, literally the exact same brush where Botox went down a few minutes before. Kaiser ended up face checking, and he pays for it. Now, with the 4-man advantage, Ed Sheeran's Fanclub version 2.0 grouping up there, surely going to take this turret down. Unless Midor Disco Nunu dies to that True-Shot Barrage. No, he does not. Barcode Guardian going in, but he is not as tanky as he'd like to believe, and he gets slain by Zariel. They're looking for more. Botox and Wild Scroll forced to run away, but the teleport coming in. This might be the turnaround as the Legend bit off more than he could chew. Here comes Kaiser. He's got Home Guard on, and he's going to be able to pick up one kill. Ults himself. Can he get Zariel? I do not think he can. Probably should have ulted the jungler for Ed Sheeran's Fanclub instead of himself, but that is still a turnaround, and the middle outer turret did not fall. So Ed Sheeran's Fanclub was still not able to pick up any objectives after winning that team fight. You know, no matter how many kills they get, no matter how well they team fight, if they aren't able to breach the base of the season's greeters, then clearly they cannot win. So we'll see whether or not they can change that. So far, the shot calling on their team fights has been pretty good. But you'd really expect at this point, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. The fact that the season greeters fell for that same brush, the exact same fashion, really is a pretty big flub, honestly. That being said, though, they still have the gold advantage, so with that, the season greeters pick up the 4th dragon. Probably, in my opinion, the least important dragon, at least at this point in the game. 4th dragon might be a little bit more important if it was an earlier buff, but in this case, the most important thing is that 6 minutes from now they get the 5th dragon buff, which is almost a pseudo win condition because of the stats it provides. As a reminder to anyone who's watching at home, it is obviously we're on the East Coast, so it's pretty close to dinner time, you know, around 7:05 p.m. right now. So actually, after this game number 1, we're gonna have a bit of a break, maybe 15 to 20 minutes, while the players and the viewers eat some pizza for dinner. But afterwards, we will resume with the second game of this best of 5. For now, though, Season's Greeters trying to close this game out, and the Ed Sheeran Fanclub trying to bring this game back. Can they do so? We're almost at the 40-minute point, and the kills are 15 to 11. The gold lead is about 5,000 gold, but that really doesn't amount to all that much, to be completely honest. There's a fairly large discrepancy in the 80 carries, but the thing is, the top laner and the junglers have, you know, almost 3k advantages as well. So the team fights could swing either way. Mystic shots landing here and there for Rodskuro, but he doesn't have blue buffs, so the question is how long can he keep this up before he runs out of mana. Zariel clearing Rodskuro, he's going to get poked down. Ouch. That's a decent amount of damage. And Kaiser's already half HP. So one thing that has been completed by both the support and the jungler is Aegis and Banner of Command. Oh, Botox, do not get cut out again. That's not what he wants, but Kaiser's going to go in. That's going to be the flash away, though. The turnaround, that's a lot of damage as the Lamb's ultimate will try and keep his team alive. Botox is outside of the Lamb's respite, though. He gets taken down, and Kaiser and Wild Squirrel simply do not do enough damage to the front line. Tom FYA Cole is trying to go back in. He gets a kill onto the Legend, but this is a 4-for-1 in favor of Ed Sheeran's Fanclub, and that is the risk that the Seasons Greeters have run with their team composition. They simply do not have the amount of damage that the Ed Sheeran's fan club is running, and it looks like 41 minutes in, Ed Sheeran's fan club is looking for this Baron, and with only Kaiser alive, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be theirs for free. Kaiser's teleport is up, so maybe he goes for something magical here. But between Callista and Kindred, even without a tank, the 280 carries take this Baron down so very quickly. So yeah, it's a pretty much even game up until this point. We've seen Seasons Greeters maintain the gold lead, but they haven't been able to win any team fights. Considering how much considering how much ability power damage is on this Ed Sheeran fan club squad, it's amazing that there's been so much magic resistance. Banner of Command, Locket of the Iron Solari, Maw of the Memordius has just been completed for this Ezreal. But the thing is, Ed Sheeran's fan club still does so much damage. Their team fight is amazing because there's just so many ways for them to keep their fights going, keep their carries alive. Not only do they have the engage, but they have the Lamb's Respite. They have a lot of damage from a lot of range, and it's very, very hard for any of the backline members of the Seasons Greeters to do damage, and they certainly don't do enough damage to the front line to shred them. So we'll see. Now that Ed Sheeran's fan club is on the offensive, they have this Baron buff. Minions will get cleared fairly quickly by the wave clear coming out of... Oh, hold on. Lyro's in trouble here. He is going to eat the cocoon. He's going to eat the hook. No, he's not. There wasn't really enough follow-up anyway from the Seasons Greeters there, but it looks like Sariel might be coming for a flank here. True-shot barrage used, but Botox is very low. This might be a problem. Cocoon is going to land on Sariel, but they're going to turn around onto the jungler. This could be a fight spread on both parts. As Sariel doesn't much damage. Unstoppable Force is going to be huge. Botox has to go down. Kaiser gets taken low, and that's going to be Barcode Guardian dead as well. A shutdown as Sariel gets slain by Coles, but that's not going to be enough for the Seasons Greeters, as the Legend is still kiting as well as he possibly can. Wild Squirrel's Arcane shifting away, but that's going to be a double kill. Wild Squirrel now gets caught up. The heal is going to give a triple kill over to Lyral 6. He's looking for the quadra kill, or maybe they just let Garen live and go for the base instead. 4 members taken down again. Tom FYA Cole is going to do the best as he possibly can to protect his turret, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Death timers are pretty long. Barcode Guardian still down for 15. Botox up in 25. It looks like this might be the first inhibitor turret going down in favor of Ed Sheeran's fan club. Tom Coles is going to go into Callista, but she's just going to be able to kite forever. Sterix Gauge is popped. Tom Coles is simply not tanky enough, and he will go down. Yes, he does. That's the shutdown for the mid laner and captain of Ed Sheeran's fan club. And as Barcode Guardians respawn in Botox, they might not be able to protect their inhibitor. No, they are not. That is the first inhib taken 44 minutes into the game by Ed Sheeran's fan club version 2.0. So probably the only way that the members of the Seasons Greeters get back into this game is if they get the 5th dragon buff. But the thing is, as far as positioning is concerned, oh, Botox in trouble here. He's not going to get hit by the knockup, though, but he is going to be hit by the ult. Forced to flash away, and this Elise is so squishy. Oh, good lord. Elise definitely not a strong late game champion, and the Seasons Greeters are really in a pickle now. Second dragon taken, so Seasons Greeters are not able to pick up the 5th dragon buff. And Ed Sheeran's fan club, their comeback is nearly complete. They have the super minions pushing up in this mid wave already. You know, the Banner of Commanded minion is strong and doesn't take magic damage, but compared to these super minions, is not going to last very long. Lyro. That Mystic Shot did a lot of damage to the Callista from Ed Sheeran's fan club. The thing is, though, oh geez, unless amazing single target crowd control gets stacked onto the carries of Ed Sheeran's fan club, there's simply no reliable way for the back line to kill them. The front line certainly isn't going to do so either. They don't really have any assassins. They don't really have any burst damage. They have a decent amount of sustained damage and a marginally okay front line. However, compared to the front line and ability stacking that Ed Sheeran's comp has, I mean, I've been talking about it for the entire game, but it certainly at this point is a huge issue, and we actually see a ZZ Raw portal set up in this bottom lane by Tom FYA Coles. So they're using items to push the waves as well as they possibly can. They've got a pretty big wave building the top lane as well. So they don't even need to win teamfights if they play this properly, but they certainly have to distract members of Ed Sheeran's fan club long enough in order to let their minions do the work. But oh, there we go. The ZZ Rot portal gets found out by the legend. He's going to be able to clear this. And what is the fan club going to do? They have the ability to engage now when they please, or they can just keep answering the pushes. We see Sariel, he's up in the top lane, and once again, the Season's Greeters are actually trying to siege against this, but look at the damage. Botox is taken to about a third of his HP, and there's just no way they can keep this push going. I definitely thought the fall finals of the UVA LCS were going to be close, but I did not expect the first game of the series to be this close. The game is still hanging by a thread for either side just because of how we're so late into the game that one team fight, you know, one ace in either direction could end it. Now Kaiser and Botox are trying to go for the siege, but Sariel is looking for the flank around the backside. Oh, we might see this go horribly wrong. Although Kaiser, does he know that Sariel's here? I'm not sure. That's going to be Lyral dominating as he gets the kill onto Wild the Squirrel. And Sariel is in a 1v3, but the question is, can his team get there in time? He actually will go down, although the red buff is able to pick up a kill in response, and that ends up being a 2-for-1 in favor of not Tom Sheeran's fan club, Ed Sheeran's fan club. They've got mega super minions in the middle lane. And they might try to end the game as both carries have fallen on the Season's Greeters. That being said, though, they're missing Sariel, who's certainly their strongest turret taker. Well, here we go. 25 seconds before the Ezreal spawns, and it looks like the call is to back away. Nexus turret still too good. Nexus turrets both able to clear out the minions, and now the Season's Greeters still in this game. However, blue buff is ripe for the taking. Baron buff has respawned, and with Ezreal still down for 5 seconds, Kaiser not up for another 20 seconds. This is probably going to be a free Baron in the hands of Ed Sheeran's fan club. They don't even need their Dresser for this. Oh, True Shot Barrage could be huge here. And nope. Kalista Ren is going to be able to pick it up. There you go. Oh. A couple of pings away. Sariel wasn't there. He's going to this bottom lane to farm out that wave. And at this point in time, we're pretty much at completed item builds for both sides. 6 items everywhere, except for the supports, but as far as their utility, they're very powerful. So really, it's only a matter of how each team plays their composition and whose composition is stronger. Considering the amount of times we've seen Season's Greeters' composition lose out in these 5v5 fights, it's certainly fall in the court of Ed Sheeran's fan club. But can they continue to replicate their success, you know? Earth Skelter has been secured. I think it's about 3 minutes before this dragon will respawn. And really, neither team wants to make this crucial error. Neither team wants to make the big mistake that might throw them the game. For as strong as Ed Sheeran's fan club are at this point in time, I almost feel like they could maybe just go into this middle lane and take the open inhib, as there isn't a turret, which means they wouldn't have to siege. Especially with the Baron buff, too. That being said, though, the nice thing about the Banner of Command is that it's a great answer to the pushing of the enemy, since magic damage won't really be effective, and that's a lot of the damage coming out of this Ed Sheeran fan club squad. So, we'll see see what they do. The Legend has recalled. He has home guards and teleport, so he's probably gonna stay in base. Nope, it looks like, oh, teleport coming in. They might go for the engage. Home guard's gonna make that a very, very fast giant rock, and the Banshee's Veil is popped. Is he gonna get able to get the engage though? No, it's the silence coming on the slow. The Legend onto Wild Squirrel, but it's only a single man ultimate. Kaiser's gonna go in and ult himself. Midor Disco Nuno and Lyra are really untouched in this team fight so far, and that's gonna be perfect for the Ed Sheeran's fan club as they pick up 2, they pick up a 3rd, they're gonna pick up a 4th, and this is certainly going to be the team fight and the game in their favor. Tom FYA Cole is trying to do what he can, and Wild Squirrel is hopelessly pushing back the enemy team, but unless he picks up a quadra kill here or something, this is definitely going to be an inhibitor, and this might also be GG. We'll have to see. Zenith Blade is going to go wide. Sariel's pushing this bottom lane. Legend is actually low. Pretty much everyone is low except for Midor Disco Nuno. So let's see, they have the Baron buff for just about 30 to 40 seconds. This is probably going to be it. 20 seconds before Barcode Guardian is available, or I should say has respawned, and yeah, this is your chance to shine, Wild Squirrel, if you want to be MVP of the UVA LCS Falls, but you better make a play here, otherwise the 4 remaining members will go and end this game. Nexus turret goes down, Wild Squirrel doesn't, but it doesn't really matter. That is going to be the Nexus falling, and game number 1 of the UVA LCS Fall Split Finals will go to Ed Sheeran's Fan Club version 2.0.